Here, I've been thinking. Retirement. This is a very dangerous word. I think most people, when they retire from life. This is very dangerous, obviously. So, ladies and gentlemen, my recommendation to you is not to retire. I don't like the word retirement. I like to think of evolution. I am not retiring, I am evolving into a wiser person. And believe you me, ladies and gentlemen, there is a lot of wisdom in the retirees. But also there's a lot of senility. This is an unfortunate side effect of getting old in many cases. But I believe that often this is because the brain retires. So it is very important, ladies and gentlemen, that you don't use expressions like retirement, because I think the brain hears this word and says, okay, bye-bye, I'm off. And this is not good for the general health of one. So I like to keep my brain completely occupied. Yes, it must be kept occupied. This is vital for longevity. Life is definitely a lottery, but we must not help the lottery along by thinking negatively about getting old. You see, if I was in power, right, which I have given thought to at times, I would bring back national service. But I would do it differently. You see, the economy is totally fucked, really, when you think about it. It is. And mainly this is because we have so many old people who we have to pay the pension to, right? And of course this is a huge burden on the economy. People who are pretty much ineffective being paid lots of money to keep them alive. Well, I think this needs to be addressed. And how I would propose to address this problem is with action. Action speaks louder than words. And what the Terry Wilcox government would do is bring in national service for the over 60-year-olds. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is totally out of the square thinking. We must bring in national service for the over 60-year-olds. Now, when you think about this rationally, ladies and gentlemen, you will see the common sense in this. Not only would we have an armed force which was huge, over 60-year-old soldiers and pilots and sailors, which would put the fear of death into the rest of the world. We would effectively have, ladies and gentlemen, an armed force of kamikaze-like, country protectors, for want of a more diplomatic way of looking at it. Now, this may sound a bit bonkers to most of you, but think about it. Just think about it. When you reach retirement age, right, you've got something to look forward to. You can look forward to going into the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and making a contribution to the world. Now, this in itself would reduce the death rate considerably, because the brain would think, whoa, I've got a purpose in life. Now, most retirees, ladies and gentlemen, as I have pointed out, tend to switch off when they get to retirement. Their brain says, oh, well, that's it, I'm not any use anymore, and it switches off. But if you had to go in the armed forces, well, you'd have to keep on your game, so to speak. You know what I mean? And you would feel like you had a purpose looking after your country. Not only would we reduce the pension outlay of money to these old geezers who are bloody useless, we would have an armed force full of people who, well, let's be honest, they didn't have much future to look forward to, but they would feel, well, if I'm going to go, what a way to go, ladies and gentlemen, defending my country. Now, as stupid as this may sound, it's not, because you must understand, a lot of these old geezers, when they go in the forces, they probably won't last more than about 6 to 12 months, and then they'll cock it, they'll have heart attacks and bloody strokes and all sorts of bloody things. In fact, they'll probably get broken ankles every time they jump out of a fucking army truck. But anyways, this is one of the consequences of being old and in the armed forces. But most of them will die, Well, if you're going to die, you might as well die of a heart attack or a bullet. And, well, as I said, these old geese would probably be deadly. They'd be like kamikaze soldiers, they would fight literally to the death. Now, a lot of the young people, with no disrespect to them, a lot of them just want to run off when they get enlisted into the army because, well, they don't want to die. And who can blame them? But these old geezers, well, they would be a force to be reckoned with. This would change the way of politics and economics drastically. And I reckon, well, I'm on a winner with this idea. And you just watch, ladies and gentlemen, what they don't pick up from my suggestions. The future could be much different. Oh, and by the way, I must just point out that if I was in politics and I did bring in compulsory conscription for over 60-year-olds, I would of course make myself exempt. I would be obviously indispensable to the running of the country. Ladies and gentlemen, see you later.